I'm Ed Lavandera in Orem, Utah. The sun is setting here on a horrifically tragic day where we have seen what some are describing as the political assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
Oh my God. Go, run.
He was just shot.
And that shooting took place on the campus that you see behind me earlier today. The entire campus, according to police, has been cleared. It is shut down. School officials say that the university will be closed for the rest of the week until next week as officials here and investigators comb through this horrific crime scene. But what we saw unfold here this afternoon is that Charlie Kirk had come to this campus, a massive rally. There was a huge crowd that had turned out for him to see when one shot rang out. Witnesses described seeing blood gushing from his neck and Charlie Kirk falling over. There is a manhunt underway, and that has become a very confusing part of this story because the suspect and the shooter in this case still, as of Wednesday evening here, is still not in custody.
Good morning, everybody. Big J Reacts. This is something that ever since, I don't know what time last night, everyone's been chirping about, and rightfully so. Charlie Kirk was at a rally that he put together. He hosted in Utah, massive rally. I don't even know how many people were there. Lots of people. And he was shot in the neck. Now, there's reports that he has passed. There's reports he's in critical condition. Who knows? But if the video's out there, and I don't know if I even really want to show the video because I could show it. I'm sure plenty of you have seen it. It's horrendous. Now, I'm not a fan of Charlie Kirk. Don't get me wrong. He said quite a few things. Had stances on stuff that I totally disagree with, and we're gonna play a video. We'll probably play a couple videos of some questionable stances that he has, and in particular, he talks about affirmative action, the Civil Rights Act, stuff like that, and his take on it. Now, granted, his take is different because he's white, and I get it. But at least the guy had the courage to debate and question and have you question him, and which is what we're supposed to do. See, if we don't have dialogue with one another, we can't act out. When we don't hear something we like, we can't use violence, right? You're going to hear a lot of things you don't like in this world, a lot. You can't just use violence to solve it. Oh, I'm going to shut you up. Oh, I can't out debate you, so I'm going to shut you up. You embarrass me. You're going to get embarrassed. You're going to fail. There's a lot of L's you're going to take in life. A lot of L's. That doesn't make you less of a person. That makes you stronger because you learn from that and hopefully you improve. And stuff like this is part of that. Now, granted, again, not a fan. What happened to him was uncalled for. Horrible. He was a human. Before anything else, he's a human being. And I don't wish death on nobody. And neither should you. And if you're celebrating, if you're part of the celebration, because I've seen videos, people happy, that's not a good human of you. You're not being a good human being. You take the good and the bad with everything in life, right? And when something happens that is complete and utter, basically terrorism, that's bad. You don't celebrate that. Now, he said some stuff. Boy, he had said some stuff. Like, matter of fact, there's a video. I don't know if I can find. I'm gonna try to find that video for you, where he talked about, perhaps we need more deaths than to prove that we need the Second Amendment. Now, those words and the fact that he said that, you can't help but think about that video and that interview when you see what happened and you hear what happened. It's horrible. But without further ado, let's take a peek at what he said about, I don't know what date this was, but this is something that happened relatively recently.
Oh.
Be respectful, guys. He can do what he wants.
I hope you can hear this.
Oh, can I start now? Oh. Nice to meet you, Charlie. I'm a big fan. I think you're a very beautiful man. I admire you physically. But, no homo. No homo. No homo. I did have a question. Something I don't find very interesting about you, something I find kind of repulsive, is that I believe you said that the Civil Rights Act was bad and that we shouldn't have that.
Okay. Well,
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't like you as much as Charlie, though.
First of all, what's your name?
Sorry. I don't want to be, like, filmed and stuff.
Too late.
I'm anonymous, #1. Anonymous guy.
First of all, hold on. First of all, if you're going to say something, he's not anonymous. Have the balls to show your face. Forget the anonymous shit. Who the fuck are you, man?
Okay. Well, hello. Nice to meet you, anonymous guy.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah. I believe in part of the essence of the Civil Rights Act went way too far, way too wide.
Oh, how did it go too far?
Well, for example, it created an entire civil rights leviathan that gave us affirmative action.
Civil rights leviathan? What do you mean?
Yeah, so if you can let me
Yeah,
finish
what do you
3
mean?
words in.
Sorry.
It allowed the Department of Justice to go after people that have different skin color, aka white people, and prevent them from getting jobs in college admissions.
You have a job.
I'm sorry?
You have a job.
No, you're right, I do. Right, but just until Trump came around, until the Supreme Court decision, if you have white skin color, it's much harder to get into a college than if someone has black skin color. Much harder. You have to get higher test scores. It's a much harder pool, largely thanks to the precedent set by the Civil Rights.
See, it's stuff like that enrages a younger fan base, maybe enrages people that went through the civil rights movement. Like, what are you, this because they're still alive. I mean, they're probably in their late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s, late 70s. What? You're telling me that the Civil Rights Act it basically stifled white people and their ability to get into college? Are you kidding me? Really? That's the shit he believes in. Let me just start off by saying this. This is me. I guess this is my form of fact checking. So I asked ChatGPT, right? This is a AI that scours the internet for the right information. Now, granted, you can't always believe everything that's on the internet. I get it. But this is as close to doing real research without having to go to a library and read through books and art. This is as close to that as you can ever get, right? So ChatGPT, I specifically asked, all right? I asked, has the civil rights movement kept white people from entering college? And this is exactly what ChatGPT said. Now, you're going to probably have to zoom in on this. But I advise you to zoom in on it. This is what they said. This is what it said. It says, no, the civil rights movement did not prevent white people from entering college. In fact, it had the opposite effect. The movement's purpose was to end racial discrimination and expand access to education, jobs, housing, and public life, especially for Black Americans and other marginalized groups who had historically been excluded. That's the purpose of the civil rights movement, right? Key points. Before the civil rights movement in the 1950s and the 60s, segregation laws and discriminatory practices often kept Black students from attending many colleges, particularly in the South. White students, however, already had broad access. After the civil rights movement, legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the affirmative action policies aimed to level the playing field, ensuring fair access for all races. So, Charlie, what you're saying is a bunch of bullshit. White students have always been the majority in the U.S., colleges and universities, and they still are today. While diversity programs may increase enrollment opportunities for underrepresented groups, they do not exclude white students from attending. In short, the civil rights movement expanded educational opportunities for everyone. It did not take opportunities away from white students. And there you have it. Chat GPT. We go to Chat GPT for every damn thing else. Ask it a real question. There's your answer.
Not to mention all the trans stuff that we're seeing. We're seeing men be able to win trophies and medals from women across the country, and they use the Civil Rights Act to justify it.
Okay, I think I see where you're coming from. So you think that it's harder for white people because black people they could have lower tech scores again? Because
it's not what I think. It's the fact.
That's what you're saying. Okay. All right. Well, I guess what I would
facts.
say too. I think perhaps you're familiar with the term equity, right? Where different people have different circumstances,
it's
which
Marxism.
leads to different outcomes.
I reject.
Okay. Well, whether you reject it or not, I think it's a prescient concept in this argument. Because what you have to understand is that when you're, for example, you're born in like a black neighborhood, you're born in like O Block or something, like a very, like a, you don't know what O Block is? Oh,
what's O
well,
Block?
if you're born there, if you're born in a very poor area like that, with like very low economic opportunity, very poor schools with very low ratings, where the average test score is much lower, when you're in that environment, you have the whole system up against you, right? So when you say in that kind of circumstance, when you're facing the whole, I guess, leviathan of systemic racism, so would you say that? Sorry, let me just finish. When you say it's fair to, for example, lower the standard because knowing that their circumstances were like that, perhaps based on what they had, what was presented to them, they had the correct amount of merit to get into a school.
Okay, so are you a student here? I'm guessing you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm a student here.
Are you a pretty good student?
Oh, yeah, I would say I'm a good student. I have a pretty high GPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give your GPA to her because she's a woman of color, please?
Oh, well, you want me to give you a... Well, I mean, I can.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure.
You'd be good. You cool with that?
Yeah,
so,
I'm fine. Wait, you mean
I want you...
Like tell her or like give it to her?
by force.
Like
so
we're swapping it.
Let me tell you what I'm going to
Okay.
do. By force, white man.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to take your GPA. I'm going to give it to a woman of color.
Okay.
You're cool with that?
I mean, yeah, I can just work back up. Like,
there's no working back up.
I can pull myself up my bootstraps.
No, there's no working back up.
What do you mean you can't work back up? That's the whole point of conservatism, isn't it?
I'm going to keep on taking it from you because that's equity. And you're cool with that.
What? But that's not
This is equity in practice.
Equity isn't taking. Equity is applying the equal standard.
If you give, how do you get? You must take and then you give.
Wait, what do you mean?
That which is given must first be taken.
Well, what's being taken?
Well, in this case, grades from you to grades to her.
No one's taking my grades though. That's not what affirmative action is.
Hold on a second.
No one takes your grades.
Hold on a second. If you only have so many, you only have so many positions at University of South Florida to come in, right? There's a set number.
Right.
Let's say it's 20,000 people. Okay, and we're gonna say we're gonna lower the test standards so that somebody that's a woman of color can come in, and therefore it's harder for you. So it's a higher bar for you, lower bar for them. Definitionally, that's a redistribution of test scores to somebody else, just by the definition. And you're okay with that?
Well, I guess I would ask then, if we were to do it...
Here's what I would say to that. This is just my opinion. I don't believe you should lower test scores. You don't need to lower anything because that's insinuating that people of color are less intelligent than white people, which is the total fucking opposite. It's not true. So to lower test scores just because you want to be all inclusive, you don't need to lower anything. We are damn smart. Because a lot of us are highly educated. A lot of us more street smart than book smart, but a lot of us have a dual citizenship, meaning street smart as a motherfucker and also very book smart. We just need opportunity. The problem is a lot of times when you have entrance exams, first of all, this goes way back. We could go way back, like he talked about as far as giving equity to someone just because they're of color, or he said O Block. Well, guess what? Taking the father out of the black home, taking the black father out the black home is what it caused a domino effect. You want public assistance, you want help from the government, you can't have the father in the home. Do you see what's happened? Most crimes that are committed in the black community, if you look at where they come from, it's a single parent household. That's a huge problem. So if you don't have the father, which is typically the disciplinarian of the entire house, mom's a nurturer, father is a disciplinarian, right? That's just how the roles are. It's unfortunate. Not to say women can't be that, but by nature, they are not the disciplinarian. And you let these kids who act up in the house go out in the real world and act up, and then they act up on a major level. And then they get checked in the real world because there's people that know how to check people that don't have good home training. And that's the first time they've been checked like that, and they don't know how to act. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to respond. Well, that's a problem that should have been corrected in the house. So it takes you to education. Well, if your kid's acting up, not showing up to school, being lazy, these are all things that a lot of times would have been handled in the household had there been a father. Didn't happen. Now that person goes off into the real world. Not many skill sets, not a lot going on. Now, granted, there should be more tech schools and trade schools for those people that aren't necessarily prepared book-wise and intellectually. There should be a lot more of that. There isn't, but it is what it is. So to say lowering the score, I do not agree with. There should be no lowering of any goddamn score. Okay. This lowering test score shit really got me pissed, right? Because I know it's bullshit. See, that's some bullshit that I'm not saying the man's racist. I just think it's gotten bad information. He's hung or is hanging or has hung around people who all have bad information and didn't really do any kind of research. So again, I asked ChatGPT, my good friend. The question is, do colleges need to lower test scores in order for Black students to gain enrollment? I think I framed the question properly. I hope I have. All right, and this is what ChatGPT said. Now, you're going to have to zoom in, but I'm going to read it out to you, so bear with me. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm sure there's many better orators out there, but I'm going to do my best. All right, this is what ChatGPT just said. That's a really important and nuanced question. The short answer, no. Colleges do not simply lower test scores for Black students. What actually happens is that many colleges use a historic admission process, use a holistic admission process that considers more than just standardized test scores like SAT and ACT. Here's the breakdown. Holistic admissions. Colleges look at grades, extracurriculars, essays, and recommendations, leadership, community service, and personal background, not just test scores. Standardized tests are only one piece of the puzzle, and research shows they don't fully capture a student's potential, especially across different socioeconomic groups. So in essence, it's saying, we don't give a damn if you just got good test scores. Are you a good person? Are you a good human being? What do you bring to this university other than test scores? Because there's a lot of students that got a hell of a test score, but are you a piece of shit? That's what they're looking for. That's basically what it's saying, right? 2, affirmative action historically. For decades, some colleges considered race as one factor among many to promote diversity and address historic inequities in education. This did not mean admitting unqualified students. I'll repeat. This did not mean admitting unqualified students. It meant recognizing that test scores alone shouldn't decide who gets admitted. As of 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against using race-conscious admissions in most cases, but colleges still seek diversity through their means, like considering economic background, first-generation status, and geographic diversity. Number 3, test score gap. On average, Black and Latino students tend to score lower on standardized tests compared to white and Asian students. The gap is linked to systematic issues like unequal school funding, access to prep courses, and socioeconomic disparities, not to ability or intelligence. So it has nothing to do with being smart and being unintelligent. It has everything to do with you're going to a school that is underfunded, so you get the worst teachers. Good teachers deserve better pay, and you get better teachers, granted. So you get the least educated teachers, probably the worst in the system. You go to a school that's underfunded. You don't have access to prep courses. They don't promote education. Case in point, I'm gonna just say this. My son, smart as shit. I mean, didn't even study an SAT, and I think got like a 1300. Didn't even study. But he went to a school that did not promote the education like they should. He's got a twin sister. Same age, twin sister. Went to another school because she really wanted to, my son wanted to focus on his athletic stuff. Yeah, I want to be with my friends. Instead of thinking the right way, use your brain. She, on the other hand, ain't got an athletic bone in her eyelash. Went to focus on schoolwork. Went to a school that had a STEM program. Very smart girl. This school promoted the hell out of education. So fast forward to graduation. So we go to graduation. They graduate at the same time, same age. So they graduate high school. And you see on a big jumbotron, his school graduated first. You see, I think his graduated first. I can't remember. Anyway. And it shows where all these students are going, right? What they're doing. His school, all you said was, it's almost hilarious. It's so, the disparity is so crazy. Get how they labeled it. Workforce. Army, Navy, workforce. Like, who the fuck's going to college? Hardly anyone was going to college. Her school, fucking Harvard, Stanford, Boston College, Virginia Tech. I'm like, shit. I mean, why is that? The schools are probably 30 miles apart. You know why it is? Funding. Just as smart, if not smarter than his sister. But the push for education wasn't there. Now, some of that comes from internal drive. And there's some realization now at this age of 20. Son's a firefighter. He's doing well. Don't get me wrong. He's doing real well. Daughter's a junior at a university in a medical program. Blessing, right? But my point is, there's some regret on his behalf that he didn't utilize the mind more. Now, granted, he can still do that in the fire department, but that's not the point. The point is now he sees that maybe I should have tried law. Maybe I should have focused on this. We all have those regrets, but I don't mean to digress, but that's powerful. All right. In closing. So the reality is colleges don't lower standards for Black students. They recognize that talent and potential can't be measured by a single test. And they strive for a fairer evaluation of all applicants. That's all Charlie Kirk had to do. Chat GPT it. Don't Google it. Chat GPT it. It's going to scour the whole internet for the most truthful versions of what we are talking about. Just saying. People of color are just as smart.
You're doing. I guess that's what's happening under Trump, right?
Well, no, it's actually been happening the last 40 years.
Okay, actually, yeah, whatever. Okay, so when you say that, if you do that, then, well, Black people aren't going to get into school, and then they won't be able to uplift themselves. They won't be able to have prosperous families. They won't be able to, equalize the economic status, because you need to give them a little jump start. You know what? You have a car, right?
How is that? How is that? Well, no, now I know who you are.
No, it's good.
But no, how has that worked the last 40 years? We've had robust affirmative action.
No.
We've had hiring practices. Has it made Black America more successful?
I can answer that easily. It's because sorry. It's because sorry. What am I going for? Oh,
I don't know.
You're a funny guy. So what happened is, even after the Civil Rights Act, you know what I believe the term is massive resistance. It was a movement in after the Brown versus Board of Education in Virginia, where essentially the legislature, which was still white supremacist, which is still extremely racist, they decided that no, we're going to do everything that feasibly possible within our means to stop Black people from going to white schools. You even see this in I believe it was the Little Rock Nine, right? Even after it was legalized at the state level, white supremacist mobs still mobilized to prevent it. So even if it de facto it's gone, de jure it still exists.
Let me ask you a very simple question.
Yeah.
A term you keep on throwing around.
Got you.
What is racism?
What is racism? Ooh, that's a very complicated question. But
no, it's not.
I mean, there's a simple answer, and then there's the highly theoretical answer.
Give me the simple.
The simple answer will essentially be because because we have like different skin colors that he's treated a different way than me. He has like a different upbringing than me.
No. But what is
He's subjected to
racism in practice?
It's discrimination.
Based on the color of the skin.
Based on the color of the skin, yeah.
Got it. Thank you. So isn't it racist then to penalize white people to come into college or to get jobs based on the color of their skin?
Well, no.
Wouldn't that be racist?
Look at that guy. Yeah.
So you're
racist.
arguing for a very racist policy, which is
on,
that
bro.
we should actively discriminate against people based on the color of their skin,
Well-
which is affirmative action in DEI in practice.
I just disagree with the premise that you can do like anti-white racism because
Wait, can you be racist against white people?
no, bro, I'm a cracker, bro. What the no, you can't be racist.
Anyone
Bro, there's so
can
many
be
crackers
racist.
here, bro.
Anyone can be racist against another race, for sure.
There's your clip, bro. There's your
100%
clip.
For sure.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
I will say this, as a man that's got, white people in his family, in his lineage, long-term relationship with a white woman right now. I can tell you, I've run into racism on all fronts. And the majority of the time, when you're talking about the black community, we are in I don't know, by nature, we're a loving community. We embrace everybody. If you come to a black person's house, if you're white, they bring you in, they hug you up, they'll feed you, they'll take care of you, they'll treat you with respect, like they treat you with love. I don't know if a lot, and that's pretty much every black family that I've been around. That's how they've been. I can't speak to any white families if they would embrace somebody, like if their child brought someone black home, say, hey, dad, mom, this is my black friend, or this is my black girlfriend, black boyfriend, where they trip. The black community, not so much. Now, they might, you might have some families that be like, hold on, you couldn't find you somebody that looked a little bit more like you. But if that is true, that's more, I wouldn't say that's racism. I'd say that's, I wouldn't call it racism. Racism is when you really feel someone is not on your level and you want to treat them less than human. That's more of a racism. That's more of a definition of the racism to me. And only reason you would treat them less than human is because you feel because of their skin color, skin tone, the background, or whatever the case may be, but it's really based on skin. That's the very definition of racism, right? But deeper, it is, you don't feel that they're intellectually on your level. I don't see too many black families doing that. I'm just saying. If I'm wrong, please hit me in the comment section, but be respectful, because I will block your ass. Let's talk about this, because this is interesting to me. This is very interesting.
Well, what are you gonna do political violence to me, bro? Like, why are you saying that to me? You're making me scared. Okay.
So let me tell you what we believe, because you tell us what you believe.
Okay.
Your worldview is indistinguishable from the KKK. That you want to organize the world based on skin color. We want to organize the world based on merit and character, based on how hard you work, what you bring.
Now, here's what I will say. See, a lot of people go to his defense and say he says some things that are facts, and he has some things that we totally disagree with. That is a fact. Even Martin Luther King said it. You want to be judged based on the content of one's character and not the color of their skin. True. That's what we want. And he's saying that's what he wants. So I can't argue with that. That is a true statement.
To the table. I believe it's destructive and wrong to say that people are going to be organized or have their future set based on the color of their skin.
Now, here's what I want to say. God, I keep interrupting. I'm so sorry, but I feel a little bit motivated to say something because this has been on my mind. So when we talk about affirmative action, that was done in the 60s, right? When is it? The Civil Rights Act was signed, I think it was 1964. But anyway, this was at a time during still Jim Crow was still alive and well. All right. Black people were redlined, meaning they were not allowed to buy homes in certain areas because white people just didn't want them there. And they felt like their property value would drop. So therefore, they were held basically out of the real estate game, which real estate, as you know, can change a family's life over time. That's how most people become millionaires, is through real estate. So we were redlined. We weren't allowed in certain schools. We could not even go to a white school. So this was still at this time. So, and forget about, that's just regular school, like grade school, like public school. We were relegated to this school over here, but not the school with a better school system, better teachers, better education. So now that's systemic. That's systemic. This is what he fails to realize. Okay. So through time in college, God only knows. So through time, you have people in place that now I can't guarantee any of this, but I would put money that 90% of the people that are in the admissions, the office level, the vice presidents, the presidents of the school, CEOs of the school, are white. They're probably white, raised in a household of parents that grew up in the 50s and the 60s in a racist environment. So now that mindset is passed on, just like everything. Kids are not born racist. Would you agree? How do they become racist? Indoctrination. Hearing things being said in the household, hearing things being said in the community in which they grew up in, which was extremely, in the 50s and the 60s, you already know, let's not trip, extremely racist. So this is the mindset you have. So after years of being trained like that, it doesn't just go away. Now you're the president of a college. Now when you see an application come through, equal merit, right? Equal merit, just as intelligent, may not have came through the rougher area, but equally intelligent. And you see this white application. The name is DeWand Johnson and Abigail Smith. Now that mindset is going to say, let's put Abigail over here and put DeWand over here. What's the point? Like, what's the reasoning? What is the reasoning? So that's why affirmative action was put in place. So there would be equal opportunity for people to get in, to have access to these locations, to these areas of education. That's what it was supposed to be. If I'm wrong, please hit me up in the comment section. You let me know. And I will tell you this again, keep saying it. Be disrespectful, you get blocked. Be respectful. I can agree to disagree. Fair enough? All right.
I think it's tribalistic. I think it is divisive, and I think it hurts the excellence of a country. You asked a question, well, how are we going to help other communities? You know how you help other communities? Stop pandering to them and start treating them like individuals made in the image of God, not tribes to be organized for political purposes.
Listen, if we could start from like right now and then forget everything that happened in the past, which is impossible. It's impossible. Then what he says makes sense. But when you have consistently for the past minimum 100 years, because Jim Crow went on for what, 60, 70 years or so? Then before that, you had slavery. So you had slavery, then you had Jim Crow, which ended probably in 65, 70. Ain't that long ago. You've held someone back as, all right, just like people use this analogy, you have a race, all right? And you hear the pistol pop. But your legs are trapped as the black person or the person of color. And the white people, they're gone, right? And finally, halfway through the race, or like 70% through the race, they release your legs. Now you can start running. Do you think you're going to win that race or even be competitive in the race? That's what has happened. That's what he fails to realize. And it's not that everything he says is so horrible or has said is so horrible. It's his presentation. He just seems like he's sitting on this high horse, pointing down at you and telling you why what you're thinking and why what has been done is so wrong and why your beliefs are wrong and mine are right. That's his aura. That was his aura.
Okay, so do you think like when Trump is now he's president, now that racism is gone now because Trump is back and we're no longer pandering, right? Do you think that the conditions of black people do you think O Block is going to become like a much nicer place? Do you think that these very downturned
I wonder what school
sort
is
of black neighborhoods that have been sort of left behind, do you think they're going to become revitalized now? Is that what you think is going to happen?
Yeah, they'll do better for sure.
You think they're going to do better? Now that we've stopped helping them, they're going to do better.
Well, see, that's an interesting thing.
Because that seems like contradictory to me, just on basic logic.
Well, actually, black Americans under Donald Trump in the first term saw the greatest economic renaissance that they saw since the 1950s.
You don't think that's due
highest
to
wage
Obama,
increases, lowest unemployment, revitalization, amazing investment in their communities, opportunity zones.
But that's when we had affirmative action. So wouldn't that be bad?
Well, again, we actually got rid of affirmative action now.
But
it's going to do even better.
now, but I'm talking about before.
Those are unrelated things, though, just to be perfectly clear.
They don't seem unrelated to me.
Well, affirmative action
policies addressing racism. They seem
affirmative
related.
action is, again...
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you are. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Affirmative action is largely federal government hiring practices and the adjacent institutions. I think that all communities will do even better when we stop living under the soft bigotry of low expectations. Inherent in your argument is that we have to pander to certain communities based on the color of their skin because they can't do as well as white people. I reject the premise. I think that we should try to say, I don't care about the color of your skin. I care about what you bring to.
They can't see it's statements like that make people hate the guy, right? Those are the statements. And I'm sure, I hope that he never really meant to sound like that, but I think he did. All right. Pandering to black people when they can't do as good as white people. What opportunities were white people presented with? What education system were they exposed to? What household did they grow up in? See, those are circumstances that dictate ultimately the jump start, the head start that those young people have compared to other people of color that don't have the same circumstance. Single parent household, living in the projects, no money. Can't pay the electric bill. So do you see what I'm saying? As opposed to both parents are employed, both parents are educated, both parents own a home, both parents have money to send their kids to school, to get them involved in a better school system for better education, which prepares them for post-education, right? Most of these black people, and this guy, I applaud this guy, because he's talking about O Block, and these kids have no clue what O Block is. I hope the dude in the dreads understands what O Block is, but maybe he does. Or this dude that looks like he's mixed. But the reality is he's using that's a super extreme case. But just use any inner city, right? Growing up in the projects and your mom can't pay her electric bill, and you're a young teenage boy, even a girl, but typically a boy, what are you going to do? You think you have to be now the man of the house. What should you do? You got to find a way to help your mom keep the electric on. Find a way for your mom to help put food in the fridge. Find a way for your mom to get gas money. Find a way for your mom to have food. Think about this. So what are you going to do? You're going to do the best and easiest thing you can do. You're probably going to do some illegal activities. Now that puts you at risk. Now you get involved in certain things that take you away from the thing that you really wanted, which was education. I would argue that drug dealers, these young cats on the street, are smarter than half the people in these colleges. They run a criminal organization, which is a business. It's the wrong kind of business, but it's a business. These cats have more business educated. Matter of fact, they should get a BS in business. Yeah, it's a business. They know how to run a business. And most of these cats don't even know how to do any of that. So that's the street smart and the education side of it, but at a street level. But my point is, I digress. A lot of these young white people have had the massive advantage than a lot of the inner city black and brown people. It's just the realities of life. And if you are white who grew up in a little bit of more of a privileged environment, you don't understand. So you come off as arrogant and pompous because you don't come from a perspective of that other society. You can't see it.
the table and stop pandering to people based on special criteria, points, and acceptance to college, saying that we're going to make it easier for one group and harder for another group.
I don't think it's pandering, though. I think it's understanding.
Okay, but let me.
Understanding
Do you
the
think that
circumstances and working based on that?
Do you think that we should have black-only dormitories in America?
No. Why would I want that?
Okay, well, there's hundreds of schools that have those actually.
What do you mean black only? Like they're not. White people are not allowed in.
No,
at
white
all.
people are not allowed.
White
in.
people. Yeah, that's why I said white people are not allowed in.
Correct. We have black-only graduation ceremonies across the country.
Well, those are from.
I disagree with that. No, we want 100% integration. White people could come and chill with the black people at the barbecue, which I hate to even call a barbecue because that has a historical implication. The cookout. How about that? The white people could come to the cookout, chill, have some good food, some good drink, good music, have a good time, and we should be allowed to the barn burning, not barn burning, Jesus, what do they call it? Where they burn stuff in a barrel, whatever that little get together is. A lot of the white people have in the country. What is it? They get out in a cornfield and they just have a good time. We should be able to feel comfortable in both settings. Everybody. That's what I want. That's what Martin Luther King wanted back in the 60s. And we're still struggling to find it. We have a lot more of it, but we still don't have it 100%.
Well, I believe those are most likely like HBCUs, right?
No, like the University of Michigan has one,
has
Yale has one, Harvard has one. So we're agreeing that is wrong.
That is wrong. So he is right. That is wrong.